we've been lied to. There's so many things we don't know, so many things that we think we know for some odd 50, 60 years or so, and that's wrong. It's all wrong.
Rebecca, how did you find Carnivore?
So actually by happen chance, I was looking for things to do different. Um, Went to the doctor a few times, told them that I'm, 260 some odd pounds and I need some help. And I was hurting really bad. My legs were hurting. I couldn't go up and down my stairs anymore. And it just been gradually getting higher. And so I went to my doctor and they're like, oh, just got a portion control. You need to slow down. You need to, watch what you eat. Don't drink any soda. All the things I already know, but wasn't able to really put forth the effort on that because I already felt hopeless. So my husband and I started looking up different diets and different things, and I've always loved vegetables. I've always loved that kind of thing, and so I did a juice vegetable at one point a few years back and worked really well for me, I thought, but it wasn't sustainable, and so I ran across the carnivore just listening to as more of like an elimination diet, not necessarily. I didn't really know carnivore, and people talk about it being like some sort of cult when you like talk about it. That, ooh, I don't want to hear that. So I wasn't really up for it. But then after we started talking about it, I said, well, I'm ready to try anything. I was on water pills. My feet were swollen. It was starting to feel like I was aging super fast. And so then I decided to start it. And so August 27th, me and my husband started it. And within a couple weeks, I was feeling amazing.
So August 27th. So that makes it
Just roughly
uh,
6 weeks now.
yeah, oh wow. And like what's changed in the 6 weeks?
Well, my thought pattern for one, I haven't had soda in 6 weeks. I haven't had anything other than beef, chicken, pork, fish. I still do cheese and milk. I don't drink milk as much because milk does have sugar in it. I found that out later, but I do love milk, so that's my one little cheat thing, I think. Um, but eggs, lots of eggs. I pickle my eggs, so sometimes I have eggs for lunch, that are boiled and pickled. Um, but when I say my thought pattern changed, my whole idea of what was right and wrong really opened up when I started researching carnivore and researching, and I'm on that whole rabbit hole. We've been lied to. There's so many things we don't know, so many things that we think we know for some odd 50, 60 years or so, and that's wrong. It's all wrong. And I go to my doctor and I was like, look, it's been a month. I lost 15 pounds. My swelling is completely gone. I'm not taking the water pills no more. Why didn't you tell me this?
And well, what's your doctor's response to that?
Oh, he's like, oh, my son did that. He lost 40 pounds. It worked okay for him. Like, really, if you know this already and you have an idea, I'm not bashing on my doctor because he's just a small problem with all the medical field. I get that. He's been trained. They've all been trained a certain way, and they are trained to fix things that are happening, not correct them at the root. And I really think that that's where we're doing our public disjustice for sure.
So you've lost 15 pounds,
Hmm.
your mind's feeling clearer. Um, how about your husband? Has he had good results?
He's doing it with me. He's not quite as able to stick to it as well as me. He does have dinner with me. He does try. He likes his bread, and so he keeps kind of going back, But he supports me 100%, and he's also way taller than me and way more metabolism than I do, and so I think that some people are different. And I'm not saying you should stop all bread. That's for whoever wants to do whatever. But for me, this works for me, and he's supportive, and I support him on whatever he does. But he's eating better. He's not having soda. He's doing the right things for the most part. And that's all you can ask is anybody just to try.
I mean, having tried different diets over time and now being carnivore, do you feel like, you finally hit on the thing that's kind of you're making progress.
Yes, I'm not just making progress, I'm making strides. I may not have lost much weight yet. 15 pounds, people say was not much, and but 15 in a month is pretty significant. I know it's water weight, I get that. But over time, doing everything I'm doing now, I'm not having donuts. I'm not eating the processed sugared cereals. I'm not eating bread. I'm not, and like, oh, well, you really need vegetables. I don't need vegetables. From what I understand, I get why people have fiber, but fiber is not required. It depends on if your body needs that for some sort of adjustment. I don't need that. And I feel like I've been completely um awakened. And I wish that I was done this when I had little kids, because I feel like I did them a disjustice. Like, they're great and they're fine, but I want to like train them now. Like, okay, you're in your teens, you're high, an adult, you should do this now. But I don't want to do that to them now, but I feel like I should have known a lot sooner.
Right. Yeah. So, how have you been eating over the last 6 weeks?
Um, I think, yes, the benefit of doing just beef would probably be amazing, but for me, I get bored with food, and so that's, one of my favorite things, and probably why I ate the way I did before was I ate for comfort and the taste of it, and not necessarily the benefit of it. And so that's the big mind change, is you have to know you're eating for a benefit to help your body, not because you want to feel better mentally. And so I think that's another thing that causes depression in my mind. These are just what my thoughts are, not, proven stuff. But for me, I would eat, so I'd have eggs in the morning, or my coffee with butter. I know that's weird. Um, and then I would eat a big steak with sometimes fish on the side or chicken on the side. We didn't have just one meat, we'd have a couple until we were full, and then we did that for the first 2 or 3 weeks until I didn't feel hungry anymore. And then I just wanted a steak, or I just wanted fish, or just, and trying to keep it leveled out where you still had the ratio of the fat in there. So
So now you're only eating 1 meal a day?
about that, yeah.
Wow, nice. And, throughout this process, have you had to deal with any cravings at all?
Um, I think mentally I had a instability last week, and so I kind of got upset, and I was like, I really want a Dr. Pepper. I want one so bad, and it was so hard, but I got over it. I drank a bunch of water, and I just, pushed through, and I had some bacon. I just kind of was like, but I think that for somebody who eats because they want to feel better doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, and sure, that would have been amazing at the moment if I would have drank it, but it probably would have set me back. And so, no, I don't really have cravings other than that one time at all. I got people I work with that they eat all kinds. They have meals at lunch, and I just sit there with my water. And if I feel like eating, I'll open a can of tuna or something. But I don't feel like it. And so they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine."
Yeah, they think it's a bit strange that you're not eating?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think it's very odd. They worry about me. They worry about my cholesterol. They worry about oh, this is not good for you. It's not long-term sustainable. I mean, there's lots of things like that that I get from lots of people.
Yeah. Um, how about your kids? How have they reacted to this, and like, are you still meal prepping for them?
Um, so my youngest is autistic, and she's 17, and she's been kind of raised basically on carbs herself most of the time, and so that's a slow process. She loves bacon. I know spam's not necessarily the best thing for meat, but she likes that. But getting her away from the processed pizzas and the ramen is difficult, and the sodas, but we're working on it, and then it's a slow process for her, one thing at a time. My other daughter, she's 19. She's very proud of me, very happy I'm doing it. She's not interested, but she does love meat a lot. She still eats a lot of fattening stuff, but she loves meat. So maybe with time she can see how well I'm doing, and maybe she'll want to try, because she has tummy problems like I did. And so it's one of the things I would wish she would give it a shot. My son's much older. I don't really. He's 27. I just tell him, "Yay, honey, do your thing."
At this stage, I mean, it's 6 weeks it's a big achievement to
Mhm.
get through that, especially like to get through this to the point you're doing one meal a day and the cravings are not there. That's awesome. Can you see this being your lifestyle going forward from here?
100%.
Mm,
100%.
nice.
I feel like I have to share this with people. And sometimes I feel like they think I'm weird because I'm like, "Oh, you should see this. You should hear this." And I've got a video for you to watch. And all of a sudden I've become an advocate in my own mind of like, I want my friends and family to feel better. And it's really stinky because they look at you and go, okay. Are you, yeah, I'll look at it, and they don't want to talk to you when you're like pushing it down their throat. So I try really hard not to be pushy, but if a friend tells me, "Oh, this isn't working for me and I'm so tired of being overweight," like, well, I have a solution. It's just like recovery. If you do the same thing over and over expecting a different result, what's going to happen? You're going to get the same results. So until you change the thought pattern, it's not going to change.
You can understand how people would be skeptical of this way of eating because we're bombarded with information all our lives from when
Mhm.
we're kids that you have to eat your vegetables, you have to eat your fruits, bread, blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
So at the start, did you have any feelings like that? Did you feel like, oh, should I really be doing this?
Well, I heard all about it in the past, and yeah, I had my reservations. Many years I've known what carnivore kind of is, but I had the same mental thought everyone else did. Well, no one can live off of just meat, just animal products. I totally understood that. That's what I thought because that's how I was raised. I'm a 70s baby. So my parents had two jobs. They didn't always sit down and make meals. My mom tried a lot. My mom made a lot of home cooked meals. But I knew that a lot of my problems stemmed from processed food. I knew that, but I didn't know it was my health problems. I thought it was my weight problems only. And so when I decided to do this, it wasn't because I trusted and believed in it, it's because I was at my wits' end. I was done with feeling this way. I didn't want to be 60 and like my grandma where she could barely walk out of her house. I don't want to be that.
Yeah, and when you do eventually find it, it's like, the blinds have taken off.
Hmm.
So if a friend came to you and said, "Look, Rebecca, you're doing really well. I want to give this a try." What would you recommend?
I'd recommend the first week just beef if they can handle it. If they're like really squeezy about it and I'm like, I'm not sure, I don't think I can go without this, and I would tell them just implement one thing a week and then the next week implement something else until finally you're on it completely. Some people can't cold turkey it like we did. Some people can't. It all depends on what friend it is and how they feel about it. If they're all hard, yeah, I want to do this, tell me, then I'd say meat, beef only. Beef only in water for like with butter, cook it in butter for like a week straight, and then move yourself to other things like chicken or whatever it is you want. But for people who are like not sure and they're still kind of on the fence and they might end up going back because they couldn't do it, I'd say one thing at a time. Cut out vegetables or cut out carbs only, one thing at a time until they get to where they're at.
Speaking of cold turkey, did you experience any side effects from just cutting out everything but animal products?
Um, yeah, I had good side effects. My husband not so good, but I had good side effects. Not to talk about the lower part of your body, but I've never had anything that precise in a very long time. So that was amazing. I was like 2 weeks in going, "Oh, I love this," Um, but my husband, he had a really hard time. He's had like the keto flu kind of thing where I think he wasn't getting enough electrolytes, and so he was really, I don't feel it. This is not right. I'm not feeling good until he kind of overcame it a bit. So I'm going to be restrictive for sure. And I understand that. And that makes sense. People don't, well, I really like cake, Well, I like cake too. I love donuts too, but I'm not going to eat it every day. Will I go to a birthday party and not have a piece of cake? Probably not, because I don't want to be rude. It's not going to hurt me to have one tiny piece of cake at somebody's party, but I'm not going to go home and make a cake every night. So there's a difference. I don't think that having some food that is sweet or made from scratch is a horrible thing to have on occasions for a holiday or a birthday or whatever it is like that. But to actually eat it every day, like, hey, let's go buy a bag of chips and let's go get some dip and let's have that 3 times a week. I mean, that's insane now to me. That just all I think about is I'm going to be up in the middle of the night with a lot of pain in my stomach. I'm not going to be active. I'm going to be lethargic. I'm going to feel like my life is just dry, and I don't want to do that anymore.
So, Rebecca, if people want to reach out to you, do you have any way of getting in contact?
I have my email.
No, no worries. Well, I'll link to your email below.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on, Rebecca, and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. I really feel awesome to be able to do that.